We're at CORREA in Burgos, Spain. Their 75th anniversary. You might have spotted that. Been going since 1947. Great history. Started by Nicholas CORREA. We met his son yesterday, Jose. Lovely guy. Told us a bit about what's going on with the company, but I'm going to show you what is going on with the company.
Let's go and have a look around the factory.
Absolutely. And we're going to put Paul to the test, test his knowledge.
This is in fact my 4th time here in Burgos, Spain.
You've been invited back?
I've been invited back.
Wow.
Every time I come here, I can never cease to be amazed at the machine building that goes on here in the manufacturing. Incredible.
So what have we got here then, Paul?
Okay, so yeah, these are all the bases of the machines, and the great thing about this factory, I don't know whether we should go right up this end, because if we do head up here, you'll see a lot of the bases of the machines that are going through, and even the tables of the machines that are going through their manufacturing processes. I mean, these castings are obviously, they're massive. They're absolutely massive.
And correct me if I'm wrong, they've got their own foundry down the road?
They have, yeah, they have.
Okay.
So they cater for the whole of the manufacturing process, which is what you just can't see unless you're prepared to jump on a plane and come to these factories. I mean, this Basque area of Spain is full of machine tool businesses, and of course this is
and this is a great showcase. What they're doing, they're making their own components on their own machine. So look at this.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. One of these that looks to me like a column of a machine, and they are using this Versa, which is a bridge-style machine that's machining currently the sides. But with the universal heads on these, you can not only machine the sides, you can machine the tops. So you can do as many operations in one setup, because you don't want to be moving that huge construction around to other machines, do you? The more you can do on one machine,
when you
the
say
better.
the heads, because these heads, we'll come to it in a minute actually. In fact, I'm going to stop you there on the heads, because we've got a great example of the different types of heads they've got. But do you know how many different positions they can go to?
Is it about 364 million?
Well, we were 365 we agreed on yesterday. 365 different positions to
so an extra million than I know. Yes,
I
guessed.
Yeah, and to what accuracy though? Positional accuracy.
Oh, it's microns. You tell me.
0.002.
And do you know do you know what the clamping force of those heads is?
A lot.
It's about 20 tons.
Wow.
And do you know what's important about the points that you're making? And we'll talk about these in more detail. Is that? Well, in fact, no, we'll talk about it now. But basically, once that head is clamped with 20 tons of clamping force...
Can I just stop you there, though? We'll come back to...
Okay,
remember
we'll come back to that.
This big turning table.
Okay,
so again, just showcasing the size of these things. Another machine there they're using, and that's a Gantry style, as opposed to, if we could bring cameraman back here, because the one we just saw was a bridge style.
Yeah.
This is a Gantry, so the whole...
is moving from... the x-axis is moving on the Gantry. You talk about that turning. This is quite interesting because these machines are not just, for milling. You can have the adaptability to do turning as well. So you've got full 5 face machining as well as turning on some of these models. Look at these.
These are the columns, rams.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. All machined here. And these are the bits you just don't get to see unless you come to the factory. I'm intrigued to go and have a look at this machine as well, this CORREA CD50, just to see what it's doing and see the metal removal on it. But I mean, quite an old or an older machine, just illustrating that CORREA are making CORREA on their own kit. Let's have a look at what this gentleman's doing.
Now, I'm assuming he's boring at the moment. Not Paul, this gentleman here, I mean.
I wonder if we can just get the camera in here, if we can just squeeze round and just see what's actually being cut there.
You might need to cut. I've just had the camera.
Do you know what I always think about these? What I always think about machining like this.
Well, this is where they've got the actual extender on the spindle as well. You can just see it. I don't know if the cameraman can get in there.
The extension.
Needs to be careful.
But what I always think about machining like this, when I used to work in the machine shop, I used to work on some pretty high-value parts. You imagine making a mistake on something like this. How do you rectify it?
Yeah, that's right. I hope they can hear us, because, as I said, the machine is in motion as we speak. And there we go, another Gantry-style machine over to our left, to our cameraman's right, and that's got that's a.
So it looks like they're actually making the bed of a machine here, actually machining it. What's this gentleman here doing?
Not sure, we need to ask him. Hola.
You might want to put the camera at that, otherwise I won't know what we're talking about. Buenas tardes.
Well, careful, it's a bit slippy.
So here, you can see here, again, your very, very high value bed of a machine, all being machined here on this Gantry machine.
And this head is the UAD, Universal, is that correct?
I couldn't tell you without looking, but what we can
Okay.
say is that having a head that's got that flexibility to be able to machine horizontally and vertically means you can not just attack the top of the bed, but also the side faces as well, and you can do it all in one operation. You imagine some of their machines are meters and meters in length, 10, 20, maybe even greater than that. So you imagine you need a machine that is bigger than that to be able to machine those parts. So the biggest machine you have has to be able to cater for the biggest machine you can sell, if that makes sense.
If the cameraman just turns around, we can see one of there. I think this is part of the bed, I think. He says...
Wow, just look at that.
So anyway, if you want to
I would be intrigued to know how many machines, and you may have found this out yesterday, how many they're actually making here.
No, that I do not know. So we maybe ask one of the gentlemen later. Yep, cameraman's there. So I think what we're going to do here, we'll go left, a number of machines, they're Fox machines. So we're talking about bridge or gantry style. Actually, the Fox machines are both bridge and gantry style, so different configurations.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's where they're all machined essentially, and here is a lot of the assembly is happening, isn't it?
So we'll come. Rowan's just filming here the head. I think we'll come to those when we come back down here. So Fox 40, 30, 10 from memory. So 4 meters, 3 meters, 1 meter.
Just have a look. Let's just have a look at some of the aspects of here. I'd like to get the camera into the rails, the construction, how the base or the bed goes on to the base of the machine. Just gives you a flavour for the...
This will be rack and pinion on the bed to give it that rigidity, as opposed to
the ball
axes
screw.
up here, ball screw. But also, here,
huge
box guideway,
huge box guideways.
Water cooled, so when it's doing its full glory, it's keeping that thermal rigidity.
Yeah, and you need that. If you're machining over very large envelopes, you need to be able to make sure that from one end to the other, or one base to... or one, the bottom to the top, you maintain tolerance, and that.
Is this a box and box style, or is it another machine we're going to come to later?
We'll have a look at that in
also
shortly.
in here, this ain't moving. They've got special concrete in there. You've got to get that rigidity. That's all part of the whole system.
Concrete columns.
So, in a nutshell,
concrete columns.
It ain't moving.
Yeah. Here you go. This is an interesting concept as well. Here you can see.
But this is not. So that was a Fox, but this is a different. This is a different take on the Fox.
So you can see here, the gantry is going to move. Basically on this base here. So your bed on the machine, often some will argue that rather than moving the part to the spindle, you move the spindle to the part, which really is what this is about here.
Application
You've got
specific.
bed of a machine, however heavy the component or the application is, it doesn't matter, because you're going to be moving the machine and the spindle to the application, rather than having tons on the table and moving it left to right.
Absolutely.
Because you imagine if you're trying to do an intricate machining operation on a very large part, you've still got to, if you're moving a ton in trying to do some, intricate milling or what have you, you've got to actually move that to the spindle. So the inertia that's continually moving on the machine can affect the wear and tear.
Okay, another Fox here on our left. 40, again a 40, 30, 10. That
Massive.
is a bridge style again. So similar construction to the one we got.
And for those that don't know, this is how axes move. The bed would obviously go on here, and these are essentially your moving mechanisms. And some would argue that the more of those you have, the more stable the machine is, which is understandable, which is completely understandable. I mean, I wonder whether this is just like a test cut that they're doing here.
We do this
you would have seen it yesterday.
Come on, we practice all this. He's not taking any notes of what I've got to say. But yesterday we had a big crowd around here. They haven't actually got the component here anymore, which is a shame, because in fact they've got it here. So you've got two different cuts on this machine, and they got, so here it was a complex plane, and they're cutting at 176. 700 RPM, but it was taking 600 cubic centimetres per minute. Beast of a cut, but even bigger than that. And the whole crowd of engineers silent, because they had this porcupine cutting at 720 cubic centimetres per minute, absolutely ripping out that material. It really was. It was a C45 material, so you can see the shoulder here.
I saw it. You put a video on LinkedIn.
Absolutely.
It was
Phenomenal. And the engineers
tremendous
are just like, wow.
Tremendous
But
cutting demonstration.
I'm going to use the analogy again. Do you know what that means?
No.
Okay. This machine is like a wrestler doing a ballet dance. So yesterday they had this great little component here, huge machine. They're doing this really tiny, relatively small component. You can see the actual chips there, the swarf itself. It's tiny. So it's taking full 5-axis head, tiny cuts. The engineers in the background, we're trying not to get in their way. But also you can see in the background, you've got the 5-axis head up.
Yeah.
But over there, I'm not sure. I think it's
so
a UAD.
You've got a head changer, so you can change the heads.
That's the great thing about these machines. Well, actually, let's go up to the head. You can just change the heads over. There's so many different varieties.
Got a question for the viewers. Is Colin a wrestler or a ballet dancer?
Well, I don't know which one's which.
Well, I wouldn't want to fight you, I can tell you that.
That's right, no, you wouldn't.
Mind you, I wouldn't want to watch you dancing either.
No, you wouldn't. no one needs either of those thoughts. You can't unthink that now as well, sorry viewers. But hey, that's just the way it goes. Anyway, thanks for that kind compliment, Paul.
So much going through here as well. I know that DTS in the UK, who are the suppliers of CORREA, have got several machines on order at the moment.
Yes, they have.
Gary and Andy here yesterday.
And one of their customers actually, Gary Road. Where's Gary from?
Manufacts.
Absolutely.
And David.
He buys one every 2 years, I think. Absolutely loves the machine. I mean, it is accuracy, repeatability as we expect, but he just loves them. Big components.
Yeah,
so
and they're a really
heads.
heavy industry company as well, Manufacts.
So we saw this on the machine earlier. The gentleman was using it. Well, that's all just to clarify, that's the only Spanish I know apart from dos beer, por favor, whatever that means. This is extending it, so you've got to get into those tricky parts, which that part was, so right through to the other side of the component.
This is one of their patented, a lot of the products that CORREA have here is all patented design.
Award-winning design, essentially. Now, let me just get this right. This is the OHD.
Okay.
And this will swing round plus or minus. I do it correct. OAD. This will go plus or minus, so you can come around and cut behind the component. So you can get that really tricky.
So you can get to more faces.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then the UAD over here. And this, how many different positions? Not this one.
Was it 364.5 million?
Oh, it's getting higher. We might get there correctly though. But this is patented, and you've got the hearth here, teeth locking in. I'll put you to test. How many degrees?
Know. You tell me.
0.002.
Yeah. So what I was telling you earlier about the clamping force and how important that is. This is about 20 tons of clamping force. So when it's in a position, it locks. And what that means is if you position to an angle, one of those 0.002 degrees or whatever it might be, and you start cutting, then you come out and you go back to cut, or you might move the head to another position and then come back to the original position. What you're not going to do is recut that part, which happens on a lot of machines because they haven't got the same repeatability in where the head's positioned.
So that's bringing repeatability.
So it means that if you want to go back to an operation, you're not going to so accurate and
okay. And
precise.
All those heads interchangeable on one machine.
You can do that. Yeah, you can have a head changer. Yeah.
So now these are action machine on our left, action machine on our right.
Now
all different.
Here we have what we class as a box-in-box design. So that really means you see the extension of that ram. This is always one of the things that companies question and ask about. They say, if that ram is extended, am I not going to suffer from, droop, exactly, which you know well about.
Moving on very swiftly.
Are we going to suffer from droop without? Now, with the box-in-box design here, you can see the whole ram is surrounded by a casting, which means you've got full security with the extension of that ram. But there's also other aspects of the software and the geometrics of the machine, which mean that you're going to be able to cut, precisely, and you're not going to suffer from droop.
Yeah. Another axis here. I think. Let me just check that.
Yeah.
So there we go. All the different configurations. I think we head back down and go into the next channel. We'll go this way because we want to make Ryan do some work.
Now he's not going to jump, is he?
His mate's behind me. He's going to push him. That's all good. So loads of axes here. Say box in box. What axis? Just to clarify, which axis is that? I want to put you on the test.
So that's going to be your Z axis.
It is your Z. Okay.
Yeah.
Always.
Oh, well, no, hang on a minute. It's going to be your Y axis.
See, I knew that. I was putting it to the test.
Cameraman actually flagged that one.
The camera's flagging, I think.
it's just great to see the machines going together. We see so many installations in the UK with.
I know you're all impressed by our fluent Spanish, by the way, just to clarify, even though we are in Spain, aren't we?
We are.
Okay.
But when you see these machines actually in their end destination, you never get to. Let's go left. You never get to see. You never get to see to the detail that you can see here. And what goes into the making of machines like this. What we're going to see next is really, really impressive.
Another iteration, if I could use that word, of a Fox, and this time it is a.
It's a bridge style machine.
5-axis head on it.
Huge. I would hazard a guess. It looks about 8 to 10 metres.
Okay.
In the x-axis.
But that's got the.
But you've got a 5-axis head on here. Obviously, be built for a customer. But
okay. Take a guess at the size, then, Paul.
I would say 10 metres by 3.
Not bad. And what about any Z?
I would say, I don't know, 2.5, 3?
Close. 80, so 8 metres by 3.7 by 1.7. So
it's huge.
Big components. What sort of applications would you be putting on there?
Very, very industrial. The thing is with these as well, you don't just have to have one large.
Very industrial. Thanks, Paul.
You don't just have to have one large component. You could have maybe a family of parts.
Yep.
So we talk about automation and keeping lights out running. If you've got a machine that can maintain tolerance over long periods of time, you could put a nest. You could put maybe a dozen similar parts, different operations on here.
No, it's cameraman just focusing hide and hang controls for all these machines.
Hide and hang controls. I believe there's probably options too.
Okay.
For that. But yeah, so you could put You could put a family of components on there and keep the machine running. Lights out over long periods of time,
Absolutely.
Which is what everybody wants to achieve.
That's it.
These
There's
days.
no point doing it, having your spindle turning for one shift, going home, lights out.
Yeah. How many steps have you done? Is that where you got your trainers on?
No, I've actually got a bunion, but nobody needs to know that either. But it's all right. We're booked in for a
bunion operation.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, again, I'm not sure our viewers want to hear about that.
Here we go. Let's have a look at this box way.
Hola.
Here. Again, just look at the RAM, everything that goes into the engineering in here. This is real.
So again,
high class, high value
box
engineering.
Guideway, linear guideway.
Yes,
Okay, obviously ball screws. Ball screw. Okay. Right. Now we're coming near to the end of our tour because we can't film over there. I got told off yesterday, so.
Did you?
Would you go BT or HSK?
Depends on what you're machining. Depends on the speed that you want to machine.
Okay.
I think when you look at
BT,
BBT 40, BBT 50, a lot of these machines.
BBT or BT?
BBT.
Okay.
Spindle
I thought I had
face
an impediment.
If you're looking
Mind
at
back, cameraman. That's all right.
If you're looking at, most of these machines aren't going to be tickling parts. They are going to be really ripping material.
So, big
so you want a really big spindle face.
They've got that guy down now. He didn't jump in the end, which is good.
You want a really
big size of that machine.
Yeah.
Now this one. 175 68 20. That's not Paul's vital statistics. That's the size of the machine, and that's a Gantry style by the look of it.
Absolutely massive, yeah, Gantry style.
Okay.
And then here,
hold on, I want to come back to this one first. So yesterday they were actually doing a hola, buenos dias. See, absolutely fluent. They were turning a railway wheel, if I can say that without a speech impediment. What they're doing, changing on this head here, and I need. What they're doing, let me get this correct, they were drilling, then grinding, and then milling, all doing all the changing.
So hang on a minute, that wasn't turning, was it?
That was turning, and I'm trying to remember what it was turning. I will tell you what it was turning at, because it's what I prepared earlier, 155, I think that's correct. And if I'm wrong, I do apologise.
Do you want my glasses?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So. But great show, and we've got some footage of that going in. This is just a rough and ready. That's not just our cameraman, but when we got a full show,
loads of videos coming to the channel.
Now this, Paul, this is the equivalent to you.
Very
massive bore, yeah. Award-winning design, BM 180. But a lot of these boring bars, as I understand it, and I'm going to have to get a nod from the cameraman, they're loaded and attached via a quill. But this one has a different design. I've got to admit, I don't know the full.
It basically means that if you've got a machine and you want to do boring, a lot of companies will buy a boring machine for boring, and they buy a milling machine for milling. Not with this.
Yep.
You can buy a milling machine that is more than capable of doing the same, if not better boring than some boring machines.
Absolutely.
And that's really what this boring head attachment is. Box design again.
Look at you getting all excited. Get in there, get in there, Paul, and point to it so Rowan can get some.
You can actually see here box in box. The support on the base, you've got 2 rails, you've got 2 on the top as well. There is no better.
In a nutshell, it's not moving.
There is no better way of constructing or building a
Paul,
ramp.
that's pretty much the end of our tour. I don't think there's any more Foxes. This is a Magna. So,
and we must have to say, terms and conditions, we may have made a few mistakes along the way, but hopefully that gives you a really good flavour of what CORREA is about here. And if you come to Spain, you can see these machines
just initially walking through a door, you're like, wow, it's absolutely amazing. The machines,
How's your bunions now?
I'm going to have to go and have a sit down. Absolutely. So, I hope you enjoyed the show, and hope we kept you entertained. I'm still not happy about the rest of the comment.
Keep tuned to the channel. Loads of videos coming from here in due course in the coming weeks.